Tonight on our 24 Frames Oscar special, we welcome back friends of the show Dr. Rob Peaslee of the Texas Tech Media and Communication Department and pop culture librarian Rob Weiner. They will join me in running down some of the biggest categories in Sunday's Oscars. We will tell you who will win, who should win, and much, much more. We'll also take a look at the new Premier Cinemas right here in the Hub City, which houses an amazing IMAX theater. You won't want to miss that. Plus, an old film classic gets a new update by a local musician in Metropolis, Elektro. That and more right now on 24 Frames. KTTZ TV Channel 5 presents 24 Frames, taking you inside music, art, and entertainment in the Hub City and beyond. Hi, I'm your host, Paul Hunton. Now, Sunday is Hollywood's biggest night, when the stars come out and hand out statues for films that deserve it and others that, well, probably don't. Throughout tonight's show, you'll hear from our experts on what films should win and also what films probably will win. Here's a hint: Lincoln's probably going to have a big night. Before we get to the picks, let's go back a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away when 24 Frames was just getting started. I went behind the construction zone and checked out Premier Cinemas when it was basically just a concrete slab. Here's a look at where it started and what it has become. Way back in June of last year, I met with Gary Moore of Premier Cinemas Company, and he walked me through what basically was a shell of a theater.
I think we're standing right below the upper seating in Auditorium 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
The lobby is right behind you. Hard to tell exactly what's going to be where, but this is one of the nicer auditoriums in this complex.
They finally did figure out what was going to be where, and after many months and a few delays, they've opened to great crowds and good movies.
We're a 16-screen complex, many amenities to this complex. Obviously, we have the IMAX, which is a big hit, the 70-foot wide screen by 39.5 foot tall, and it's like no other. The experience is awesome. The IMAX 3D experience is hard to describe even. We also have D-Box, which is a fourth dimension, like we like to call it. It actually interacts with the movie. So it's as you see someone fly, well, you feel the feeling like you're flying along with them.
With the only IMAX screen between Albuquerque and Dallas, D-Box seating, and a full restaurant and bar, Premier truly is a one-of-a-kind experience.
We have 2 full-service bars, a full-service restaurant, a pizza, quesadillas, chicken strips, you name it, we got it. There's no ticket necessary to come in and enjoy Starbucks, enjoy the restaurant, have a Chihuahua sandwich, or just have a beer. We try to call this, it's an event center, it feels like, more than just a movie theater.
Whether you're tired of seeing Meryl Streep win, Denzel Washington lose, or Leonardo DiCaprio not get nominated, the lead acting categories at the Oscars never seem to let the audience down on surprises. So who will win? Let's take a look. Now, Joaquin Phoenix in The Master, I thought he was phenomenal, and I'm a big fan of Paul Thomas Anderson. I think that that film should have been nominated for Best Picture. But having said that, I think his performance is very subtle, and just there's that scene where he's sitting with Philip Seymour Hoffman. Thank you, and just the look on his face is just amazing. And I just thought that was a very great role and a very good, back to form for him after his last, craziness that he did. And so I would like to see him win. I know Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln will win because he deserves to. I mean, it's one of those things. It's very subjective. Daniel Day-Lewis is Daniel Day-Lewis, and he is a master of everything he does. So it's hard to take that away from him. But if I was just to throw a wild card, I would say Joaquin Phoenix in The Master.
Well, yes, Daniel Day-Lewis, amazing performance in Lincoln. I would argue he's probably the single greatest living actor on the planet right now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to. I want to give it to someone else just because of that reason.
Yeah, but Bradley Cooper was amazing.
Yeah.
In Silver Linings, I mean, he just the camera, just get in him, and followed him, and he the word I'm looking for. The camera just loved him.
Well, that movie works because of Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Jennifer Lawrence is great in it too. De Niro's great in it too. But one of those parts, you know, isn't quite there. I think the movie still works, but if Bradley Cooper's not doing what he's doing, I think it falls apart because there's such a delicate balance between comedy and tragedy there.
The name I can't pronounce. That little girl is absolutely phenomenal in that film. In fact, I felt like that film was really kind of hollow, much like Zero Dark 30 left me kind of like, well, that's what it is. You know, it's a nice portrayal of this, and it just emotionally was kind of distant from me, except for her performance. And so for that reason alone, I would like to see her win. Now, winning is a different thing, and I think that in this one, I really think that either they're going to give it to Jennifer Lawrence, which would go with what the Golden Globes did, or Jessica Chastain. And you said something really awesome about her performance. So let's toss it over to you about Jessica Chastain and Zero Dark 30.
Well, I agree with you that I think it's a two-person race here. I think Emmanuel Riva and Kuvanjani Wallace are both, novelty nominees. Really, they're the oldest and youngest ever. The odds of them winning, I think, are pretty slim. And then, what was our fifth one there? Naomi Watts.
Yeah, there you go.
I think she's in fifth place.
Yeah.
I think Jessica Chastain is the heart and soul of Zero Dark 30 to the extent that you find a heart and soul in that movie. And you know, we've talked about whether or not that's possible. For me, it was. For me, it was a very moving film. And what moved me about the film was her. She's in every scene. She carries that film 100%, and it's in her experience of this story that I think we as an audience and as a nation, to some extent as a world, reconcile, you know, much of what's happened over the past decade or so. And so if you connect to her, I think the film works. If for whatever reason you don't, then, you know, I think maybe the film seems a little more technical, a little drier, etc.
When we come back, we'll make our picks for Best Supporting Actor and Actress, because everyone needs a good wingman or woman. Also, we'll take a look at a very cool production of an old silent movie getting a new life in Metropolis, Elektro. Don't go anywhere.
The Lubbock Cultural District Calendar is brought to you by the Lubbock Arts Alliance. The guest lecture series at the Vietnam Center and Archive presents Major General W. Montague Winfield. The presentation will be Thursday, February 21st at 8 p.m. at the Lanier Auditorium in the Texas Tech University School of Law. More information is available at vietnam.ttu/events. Celebrity Attractions presents Monty Python's Spamalot at the Citibank Auditorium Friday, February 22nd at 7:30 p.m. and Saturday, February 23rd at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Ticket information is available at ticketsage.com or from Select-A-Seat at 770-2000. The Children's Orthopedic Society and Lubbock's Chef de Cuisine presents the International Culinary Affair, Friday, February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. at the TTU Mackenzie Mercant Alumni Center. More information is available at children'sorthosociety.org. The Texas Tech School of Music presents Chamber Music of France, William Westney and Colleagues. The concert is Sunday, February 24th at 8 p.m. in Hemley Recital Hall at the School of Music and is open to the public.
When are you going to wake up? There's a revolution going on. You don't seem to have noticed.
I hardly need say on no account is that file will leave the premises.
The purpose of intelligence is to find the truth. We're meant to look for what's there, not for what we want to be there.
They've been setting you up.
Wake up, Johnny. 21st century.
Maverick had Goose and Luke had Han. The importance of a good wingman or woman can't be understated. Here's our picks for supporting actor and actress in Sunday night's Oscar ceremony. I really thought Leonardo DiCaprio was the best performance in Django Unchained.
He's overlooked here, I think.
Yeah, he is overlooked.
And so
there's a lot of controversy
I
about
thought
that.
he got shafted at the Golden Globes. I thought he deserved to win. He really got shafted for not getting his name mentioned here.
Yeah.
Having said that, with the people that are on this list, I actually lean towards Alan Arkin in Argo. I thought I actually thought John Goodman was better than Alan Arkin, but both of those performances in Argo are phenomenal.
They are.
And they are a little understated, and they bring a lightheartedness to that film that otherwise it's not there, because the rest of it is very, it's that fast-paced CIA operative type thing, and then they're kind of the lighthearted side of it, but they do so good at being that contrast that film needs, and what makes that film so good.
You agree with that, I think.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I do. And I love the fact that, Alan Arkin has had lots of, ups and downs in his career, and ever since Little Miss Sunshine, he's got lots of work, and, you see him in a lot of movies, and he's a delight to watch. He really is fun, and he was terrific in that film. And so I hope he wins.
Yeah.
I think Little Miss Sunshine will probably work against him. The fact that he's won recently,
Yeah.
there's some other people on the list. I mean, if there were if the competition wasn't as strong as it is, then I think maybe. But Christoph Waltz and Tommy Lee Jones, for me, I think are the front runners here. But both of those roles and both of those performances are very pronounced, unsubtle performances, right? They're scenery chewers. I actually think my dark horse, this is the category where I think there's a dark horse possibility. I think De Niro's got a shot here. I think he does his most subtle work that he's done in decades in this film. I think the voters really want to give him an Oscar. He hasn't won since Raging Bull. And if they value that subtlety over some of these more, unsubtle, if you like, performances, then I think he's got a shot.
They like me. They really like me. I don't think we're going to get that again. I think Lincoln wins for Best Picture. I think Daniel Day-Lewis wins. Unfortunately, I think Tommy Lee Jones wins. I don't think Sally Field wins. I think Anne Hathaway, for as small a performance as that is, I think she wins.
She sings live for this
Yeah.
performance, and I think that will sway a lot of voters, despite the relatively small amount of screen time. For me, this is a two-person race. I think it comes down to Anne Hathaway or Helen Hunt. Helen Hunt was a front runner at the very, very beginning of the awards season conversations, and that hasn't really panned out. But and I haven't seen the sessions, but just understanding what she does on screen, it's pretty brave, braver than singing. And I think that the Academy will, many of the voters will resonate with them in terms of wanting to recognize that. So that's what I'm hoping for. And it's a late career, kind of an Alan Arkin.
Yeah.
She's been doing good work for a long time. It'd be nice to see her win.
Nothing to say on supporting actress? If you're a film nerd like me, then you know that from time to time you hear of a vault in Venezuela that was housing the long-lost reel of Orson Welles' Mr. Arkadin. In 2008, missing reels from the silent Fritz Lang masterpiece Metropolis were found in an archive in Argentina, and this is no urban legend. Coming to Lubbock on March 22nd, you can see the full version of Metropolis for the first time in the hub city, and it also gets another important update. Local artist Scott Ferris and his wife Amy have written a brand new score. I sat down with Scott and Amy to talk about how this project came to be. The husband and wife musician team of Amy and Scott Ferris have given new life to a classic film by creating and composing an all-new score to Fritz Lang's 1928 silent masterpiece, Metropolis.
When I was in college, I was an undergrad at Texas Tech. I was studying visual art and music. And on the visual side, I started really getting into the silent films from the 20s. And so I watched, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Nosferatu, and Metropolis. Metropolis being my favorite since I was kind of a sci-fi fan from being from my childhood, and that film ended up having a huge impact on me as a visual artist. And then here, many years later, we receive a call from the Luca, and they ask us if we would compose a new soundtrack to a silent film from the 20s, and of course Metropolis was the natural
That
choice
was the
there.
pick.
They then began the process of building a score that includes 21 musicians and multiple genres of music, from rock to hip-hop and even dubstep, taking careful consideration in the emotional development and characteristics of all the major roles in the film.
And we ended up developing individual themes for each of the major characters in the film, and different groups of characters and different, motifs that kind of weave throughout the film. And stylistically, it's just wildly varied. It covers literally everything from, 20s swing and ragtime through hip hop, rock and roll, choral pieces, classical string arrangements.
Yeah. It's all over the map.
Yeah.
While the project is a giant challenge, Amy and Scott have grown through the process as musicians and look forward to unleashing their diverse musical vision on a captivated audience.
I think the diversity of this event, with everything from rap to classical and everything in between, that's wonderful. All those different cultures, musical cultures, coming together to produce something. That speaks to the fact that we have a huge variety of music in Lubbock. It's huge. I mean, it's the biggest thing we've ever done. But at the same time, I am so excited.
Metropolis Elektro makes its world premiere in Lubbock on March 22nd and 23rd at the Louise Hopkins Underwood Center for the Arts Firehouse Theater. Ticket information is available at flatlandfilmseries.com. When we come back, you'll get our picks for Best Director and Best Film. You won't want to miss what's next.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are in at the beginning of something amazing. The very best that London has to offer.
May I introduce my good friend, Harry Selfridge?
Surely not the Selfridge we've all been hearing about.
You're the man who knows what women really want, are you?
We are going to show the world how to make shopping thrilling.
Good morning, Mr. Selfridge.
I want merchandise that people will desire. I want merchandise that people don't even know them will desire until they see it right in front of their eyes.
You've been creating quite a stir, haven't you?
We're giving them style, glamour, razzmatazz. We need to put on a show. We are making history here. They should be battering down the doors. They should be swarming all over us. Pack your bags, ladies and gentlemen. Go and bring the world to Selfridges.
The maestro of a great film deserves a lot of credit. This year, there are some big names up for Best Director who have equally submitted spectacular films. Here's our pick for Best Director as well as the best film of 2012. Once again, we have to fight with Lincoln because it's another one of those things where let's just give it to Spielberg, or it's one of those years, and none of these other names are necessary. Well, I take that back. Haneke and Ang Lee and David O. Russ are all really big names, but none of them are Steven Spielberg, and maybe that's the problem, and maybe they just hand it to him and move on. But I would really like to see Ang Lee win for Life of Pi. As you were saying earlier, Life of Pi was considered unfilmable, and yet he filmed it. Not only did he do it, he did it masterfully. And so I just feel like if there is an outlier, if there's someone just as deserving as Spielberg or someone the Academy is going to look to give it to, I hope it's Ang Lee.
Personally, I'd love to see Michael Haneke get it, just because I think he's an edgy director. He's directed some very transgressive films that are pretty disturbing. Haneke would be a dark horse winner. I mean, let's face it, most of the general public does not know who Haneke is, and most of the general public probably wouldn't necessarily enjoy Amour, which is basically a film watching somebody die, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad film, right? It can, disturbing topics can be terrific art, and film is an art as well as entertainment, and Haneke makes art. I think that he's one of the few modern directors, again, that you could use the term genius or auteur for, and it would be great to see a dark horse like him win. I don't think it's very likely, but certainly I think he should be honored to be up for an Academy Award.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't think it'll happen.
No, I don't
but
think
it would be great to see somebody win who, like Haneke, because when you're watching one of his films, that's one of his films.
Yeah.
And to me, that's rare. Hey, Lincoln, we've talked about this over and over again. It's tailor-made to be where it is, for this ceremony. I think we are not alone in understanding that. I think that Academy voters are fairly cognizant of that dimension of the film. I think that may result in an upset here, and I'm going to pick David O. Russell. I think Silver Linings Playbook works, as I mentioned earlier, largely because of Bradley Cooper, but I don't think that Bradley Cooper is capable of that performance without a strong director. And for me, that film, when I saw Silver Linings Playbook, I noticed a lot of things that were done with what could have been a very conventional narrative, but because of the directions with regard to cinematography and editing, which of course directors are involved in, it became a different kind of film. It became a film of substance. So we'll see, but it may just, like you said, they may just bring Spielberg up on a some form of hand-driven transportation and bestow it upon him. But no, I think Russell's got a chance at.
That's interesting. One person I felt like should have been, and we've talked about The Master kind of being not getting its dues here. I think Paul Thomas Anderson should have been. As much as I'm happy to see Beasts of the Southern Wild Dare, because it's neat that an independent film made in that way with non-union actors, just the whole independent idea is fantastic.
It is.
But having said that, Paul Thomas Anderson and the Master deserve to be rewarded or at least nominated in a lot of these categories that we don't see him in.
I agree with that, and I can't recall off the top of my head what P.T. Anderson's Oscar history is. Has he won?
No, he has not won. Did he? It's possible he won for writing, but I don't think. I think he's been zilch.
Has he been nominated?
Yes, he has been nominated
for
Boogie Nights.
There Will Be Blood.
And There Will Be Blood. I think both of those. But yeah, so it's unfortunate that we don't see his name more often, because every time he makes a movie, I love it. Whether it challenges me, like if it rains frogs, for example, right, and it challenges you in that way, or if it's just a beautiful film like There Will Be Blood. I mean, I always look forward to his next film. The one I think just completely deserves to win is Argo. It came across as a surprise at the Golden Globes that it won, but I thought it deservedly so. I think what will win here is Lincoln.
Well, certainly, in many ways, Lincoln's a front runner. Spielberg's involvement, the Daniel Day-Lewis performance, it is ready-made for Oscar, right? The question is whether the voters will be cynical about that or disillusioned by it. And if that happens, I think Argo's probably next down on the list. What I hope will win is Zero Dark 30. I think it's too divisive a film to get the vote, however.
Well, I would love to see either Django Unchained or Silver Linings Playbook win. Both of those films are very quirky and strange and interesting to watch. And I came out of both of those movies feeling very satisfied that I saw something, not only something that made me think, but something that was entertaining as well.
And that's the show. I hope you enjoyed our Oscar special. For a few categories we didn't cover tonight, and also get my recap of the Oscars on Monday, go to kttz.org. Follow us on Twitter as I live tweet the Oscars at 24FramesKTTZ. And remember to like us on Facebook. I'll see you next time.
I drink what they pour me, the cups of who cares, go up in the night sky, up in the clouds, fly over the houses, and looking down, joy to the city, joy to the streets, and joy to you, baby, wherever you sleep.